dark psychology of power, the most dangerous predators do not overpower you with aggression. They paralyze you with fake weakness. By projecting severe emotional pain, they force you to surrender your boundaries willingly. There is a highly guarded reason why elite sociopaths weaponize theatrical tears instead of rage to control you. They know that your psychological programming forces you to drop your intellectual defenses the exact moment you are faced with a display of human suffering. Pity is a calculated compliance weapon designed to completely bypass your logic. Listen to me very carefully. The unspoken rules of social manipulation are shifting rapidly, and the window of opportunity to build your iron boundaries against emotional parasites is closing faster than you can possibly imagine. If you choose to click away right now, you are mathematically guaranteeing a life of permanent social submission. Toxic individuals will use manufactured vulnerability to drain your resources, your time, and your status every single day, and you will thank them for the privilege. But if you stay until the very end of this classified briefing, I will hand you the exact psychological blueprint to command instant, undeniable respect by doing absolutely nothing. You think your empathy makes you a noble protector. You think it makes you a savior. Untouchable operators know the painful truth. A Machiavellian trick never deserves your sympathy. If you want to ascend the hierarchy, it is time to master the dark art of tactical apathy, the claqueurs of human emotion. To understand exactly why you fall so easily for fake tears, we must examine a bizarre and highly manipulative phenomenon from the history of grand opera. In 1820, a pair of businessmen named Sorton and Porcher opened a highly unusual agency in Paris. They were not selling musical talent or stage design. Their product was manufactured applause. They created the institution of the Claque, a group of professional, paid applauders who were leased to singers and managers to guarantee a spectacular, overwhelmingly positive audience response. The system was meticulously organized. The agency supplied different specialists for different emotional reactions. There was the Bessieur, who yelled for an encore in ecstatic tones, the Rieur, who infected the crowd with loud laughter, and most dangerously, the Pleurus, a woman specifically chosen for her exceptional ability to weep on cue during the tragic scenes. The creators of the Claque understood a fundamental, mechanical rule of human behavior, the principle of social proof. When the ordinary audience members saw the Pleurus weeping uncontrollably, they automatically assumed the performance was genuinely moving. Their own emotional defenses dropped. They began to cry and applaud simply because they were following the manufactured evidence provided by a paid actress. The deception was not even hidden. These professional applauders advertised their rates in the public newspapers. Yet, the illusion worked flawlessly every single time. Modern social manipulators are their own personal Pleurus. When they want to force your compliance, they do not present a logical argument or a fair negotiation. They present a highly theatrical display of tears. They are faking the social evidence of pain to force you into a mechanical, predictable response. When you react to their fake tears with genuine sympathy, you are acting exactly like the duped opera audience. You are applauding a transparent forgery. Elite operators see right through the performance. They completely refuse to be part of the audience when the emotion is a calculated fraud. The illusion of the uninvited debt. The invisible mechanism that keeps you entirely paralyzed when a manipulator breaks down in front of you is known in social psychology as the rule of reciprocation. This powerful sociological rule dictates that we are deeply obligated to the future repayment of favors, gifts, and concessions. The anthropologist Marcel Mauss noted that in human culture, there is an obligation to give, an obligation to receive, and an obligation to repay. But covert manipulators exploit a very dark, devastating loophole in this rule. It can trigger a crushing feeling of indebtedness even when the favor is entirely uninvited. During the 1970s, the Hare Krishna Society revolutionized their fundraising by exploiting this exact loophole at crowded airports. A solicitor would step directly in front of a hurried businessman and force a flower into his hands. When the man protested and tried to give it back, the solicitor would refuse, stating firmly, "It is our gift to you, sir." Only after the flower was forcefully given would they ask for a financial donation. By forcing the target to accept the uninvited gift, the rule of reciprocation was violently engaged, and the businessman inevitably handed over his money just to escape the psychological burden of the debt. The tactic was so ruthless that solicitors would regularly walk a garbage route, retrieving the discarded flowers from trash cans to use them again. The most terrifying part of this strategy is that the people who threw the flowers in the trash had still given a donation. The uninvited gift was so powerful that it extracted compliance even from people who hated the interaction. Elite sociopaths use their fake tears exactly like that unwanted flower. By breaking down in tears, they force upon you the uninvited gift of their extreme emotional vulnerability. You never asked to be involved in their drama. You never requested their suffering. But the exact moment you accept their display of pain and offer them a tissue, a listening ear, or a single word of comfort, you have accepted the flower. You are instantly indebted. The manipulator has forced you into an unfair psychological exchange where they control the entire dynamic. They chose to cry, and now the crushing weight of social pressure dictates that you must pay them back with your absolute, unquestioning compliance. The perceptual contrast of weakness. How do these emotional predators bypass your logical threat detection systems so effortlessly? They weaponize the perceptual contrast principle. In psychophysics laboratories, researchers place a student's hand in cold water and the other hand in hot water, then place both hands simultaneously into lukewarm water. The contrast tricks the human mind completely. The hand that was in the cold water feels hot, and the hand in the hot water feels cold. The exact same thing seems drastically different depending on the event that precedes it. Retail clothiers exploit this ruthlessly by always selling the most expensive suit first. Once a man has agreed to a $400 suit, a $95 sweater seems incredibly cheap by comparison. Real estate agents use set-up properties, run-down houses kept at inflated prices, just to show them to buyers first, so the genuine house they want to sell looks like an undeniable bargain. Sociopaths apply this exact principle of contrast to your perception of danger. You walk out into the world every day expecting your enemies to be aggressive, loud, demanding, and dominant. You are mentally prepared to fight a strong, combative adversary. So, when the social predator approaches you weeping, broken, and claiming to be a helpless victim, the contrast is blinding. Compared to the aggressive tyrant you expected to fight, this sobbing individual looks entirely harmless. Your logical defenses shut down instantly because the contrast principle makes their fabricated weakness seem incredibly authentic. By projecting severe emotional pain, they appear to be at the absolute bottom of the social hierarchy. You lower your weapons, you drop your guard, and you invite them straight into your inner circle. By the time you finally realize that their tears were a calculated illusion, they have already bypassed your psychological armor and gained access to your most valuable resources. You have been destroyed by a perceptual trick that used your own expectations against you. The paralysis of pluralistic ignorance. If you doubt the terrifying power of manufactured pity, you must examine why you are so utterly afraid to walk away from a crying person in a public setting. The answer lies in the principle of social proof, combined with a deadly psychological phenomenon known as pluralistic ignorance. In 1964, a woman named Catherine Genovese was fatally attacked in New York City while 38 of her neighbors watched from their apartment windows. Not a single person called the police during the 35-minute assault. Psychologists discovered that the neighbors did not act precisely because there were so many observers present. In moments of intense uncertainty, humans look around at the actions of others for clues on how to behave. Because nobody wants to look foolish, everyone tries to appear calm. This creates a state of pluralistic ignorance in which each person decides that since nobody else is reacting, nothing is truly wrong. Elite sociopaths invert this exact mechanism to trap you in public. When they want to force your compliance, they will purposely initiate their fake tears in front of an audience. They create an intentionally ambiguous situation where everyone is watching. They know that you will look to the crowd for social evidence on how to behave. Because the crowd expects someone to help the weeping victim, you feel the crushing weight of their silent judgment. If you walk away, the social proof of the room will immediately label you a monster. You surrender your leverage and comfort the manipulator not because you truly care about their fake pain, but because you are terrified of the social friction that would occur if you ignored them. You allow the silent, ignorant gaze of strangers to dictate your reality and drain your power. Elite operators refuse to be governed by the crowd. They understand that the crowd is operating on faulty data, and they refuse to sacrifice their status just to look polite to a room full of strangers. Ascending to untouchable status. The ultimate psychological transformation requires you to master the Machiavellian art of tactical apathy. You must learn how to ruthlessly neutralize the exploiters who weaponize your empathy against you. The secret to defending yourself lies in the mental act of redefinition. You must realize that the reciprocity rule says that favors are to be met with favors. It does not require that tricks be met with favors. If a fire inspector gives you a free extinguisher only to pressure you into buying an overpriced alarm system, you merely define his gift not as a favor, but as a calculated sales device. Instantly, you are free to decline his offer without even a single tug of guilt from the reciprocity rule. You must do exactly the same thing with the fake tears of a sociopath. The exact moment you detect that their emotional breakdown is a calculated performance designed to extract your resources, your time, or your agreement, you must completely redefine their crying. It is not an expression of human pain. It is a mechanical compliance tactic. It is a hostile attack disguised as a surrender. Once you define their tears as a psychological weapon, you owe them absolutely no empathy, no comfort, and no response. You simply stare blindly at their fake pain and deploy absolute ice. When you deny a manipulator the pity they demand, you deprive them of their only leverage. Their entire power structure collapses instantly. By refusing to play your expected role, you trap them in a prison of their own making. They are left sobbing into a void, looking foolish and powerless, while you remain entirely unfazed. This is the ultimate show of dominance. Staring blindly at fake pain commands an undeniable, terrifying respect from everyone in the room. You prove that your emotional boundaries are impenetrable and your intellect cannot be bypassed by cheap theatrics. We have reached the critical point of this classified briefing. I want you to analyze your own behavior right now. When was the exact moment you realized that a toxic person was using theatrical tears to manipulate your decisions and steal your power? Answer this in the comments below. If this painful truth hit you exactly where it needed to, and you are finally ready to deploy tactical apathy against emotional parasites, drop the words "absolute ice" in the comments right now to prove you are mastering the dark psychology of control today. Take back your power. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to master the warfare tactics the elite use to dominate every hierarchy. Stay cold, stay silent, and never apologize for your power.